Trump is looking to reopen the country. This is a bad idea for a variety of reasons, not all related to my goals for revolution. The issue is that we don't have a solution to coronavirus yet. And without a solution to coronavirus, sending people back to work is going to get a lot of people killed. I mean, most of Trump's ideas are bad. If Trump has a good idea, it's an accident. Yeah. So this report is almost a month old at this point. It's the Imperial College report on the results of COVID-19 and what will happen if we just send people back to work. And essentially what it says is if we just do suppression, if we just do it's mitigation, where we just isolate symptomatic cases, where we test people as they show symptoms, we're looking at, in the next 3 to 6 months, somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think the number was 1 to 4 million dead just from coronavirus alone. And the fallout from that would kill tens of millions of people worldwide. This is what will happen if Trump is allowed to open up the country again without a vaccine or a good cure in place. Because we know that people can be asymptomatic for up to 2 weeks after infection, which means that if we only test people when they start showing signs of it and only isolate people, quarantine people once they've shown symptoms, then we're not doing anything. People are still going to be out there. They're still going to be infected. They're still going to be infecting people, but they're not going to be safe. And millions of people will die. Fortunately, it's still largely up to the governors. This is a USA Today article. Trump eager to reopen nation because his stocks are plummeting. But governors will decide when to ease coronavirus lockdown. Now, I live in Iowa. We have Kim Reynolds, the dumbest bitch to ever be governor of Iowa. And she is completely unwilling to shut down the state to save lives. She's a Republican. What do you expect? So there are a lot of people who have to work. They have to go to work to do a job, to pay their bills, so they can eat, they have medicine, healthcare, all that good shit. If they don't have the money, if they don't have another income or another source of revenue or someone else they can rely on, and people say, hey, it's no longer the government's decision to force you to stay home, so I'm back to work. They're going to go back to work. They're going to get infected. They're going to take that infection home, and they're going to infect their family and their neighbors and their friends. And I've seen some people, some smart people, saying that we need to test everyone if we're going to open up the country. And I agree. I think everyone probably should be tested. That being said, I don't see how that would allow us to open up the country unless every single person in America is tested, and the people who test positive are all quarantined. Maybe that's the idea. Maybe that's their plan. But I just don't see how that is more feasible than the shutdown we have now, because there's already confirmed 580,000 cases in America. 23,000 deaths. Holy shit. I didn't realize we've gotten that high already. So, with a confirmed over 500,000 cases, and given the scarcity of tests available in America, as well as the fact that most people, well, not anymore, a lot of people in America don't have health insurance, and even if they do have health insurance, it's not very good. They're not going to the hospital to get tested, especially if they're not showing symptoms. If they're not showing symptoms, then we probably wouldn't test them anyway. And so they're likely, I would not be surprised if this number is not equaled or exceeded by people who are infected and don't know it. So, all that being the case, I don't see how we can open the country up back to normal business without risking a massive breakout. Now, keep in mind, I totally understand and agree that there is no possible way that we can stay shut down for the year and a half it's going to be until we have a functional vaccine. That's the real issue, that there's no way we're going to have people completely healthy until we have a vaccine. There's no way we can do that, again, unless we're willing to test every single human being in America, every single human being who enters America. And if you're positive, you get shoved in the quarantine until you die, recover, or we have a cure. And given that at this point we don't know if people who get it once can get it again, I've seen conflicting data on that. It's hard to say what's going to happen with COVID. If people can get it again after recovering the first time, then that means even recovery won't let you go out into it. And even if it does mean that you've recovered, I don't know. I'm not an immunologist. I'm not a virologist. If someone has recovered from a disease, does that mean it's completely eradicated from their system? I think so. That makes sense to me. But I can't say that for sure. So that's the real scary situation we're in, is Trump, the Republican Party, parts of the Democratic Party, and Wall Street, the billionaire oligarchs who run this country, want to get the country back to work because they don't make any money when we're sitting at home. I mean, we don't either, but they don't need more money. We do. I don't have a solution. I don't have an answer here. I know that the current status quo cannot continue indefinitely. And the worst part is, even if they suspend evictions and mortgage and rent and things like that, what's happening, what I've seen a lot of people talk about, is that this debt is piling up. People with rent, with mortgages, with bills of all kinds, that debt is piling up. And if they're not able to pay that debt when this is over, there's not really a lot of help with shutting things down. But I know we can't afford to reopen things right now, not unless Trump is willing to take responsibility for millions of deaths. And it will be his responsibility. If he gives out the order, if his council that he formed the other day about reopening America for business, if they say, yep, we can do it, and I knew this was going to happen. As soon as we started to bend the curve, as soon as we started having fewer deaths, Trump was going to talk about opening the country back up. Because the problem is, people like Trump and the Trump apologists, Trump supporters, they all can't look beyond the current data. At least that's the way they behave, and I think that's definitely true of Trump. They can't look beyond what is happening right this moment and whatever advisor they believe is telling them at this moment. So as soon as Trump started getting data in that we were losing less people, that fewer people were getting infected, oh good, that means we can go back to work and send people back to work, get the stock market going, and get this economy back on track. Because make no mistake, whatever else is true, Trump is terrified of a bad economy and a stock market crash. That's why he's authorized $1 trillion a day for the stock market. I don't know if they're still burning $1 trillion a day, but I know that was what it was for a few days. So I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what needs to happen to get us to the other side of this pandemic. But I know that at this point, with the infrastructure the way it is, we cannot afford to send everyone back to work. That is a death sentence for millions of people. And it's mostly going to be poor people and mostly going to be minorities, because minorities are the hardest hit by medical issues like this, because with our system in America, if you don't have a lot of money, if you're not in a good socioeconomic position, your healthcare is shit. But we'll see what happens. All I can say is I hope there's still a couple of people who Trump listens to who are able to read data and take it seriously. But, yeah, Trump wants to open up the country. He does that with the way things are now. A lot of people are going to die. A lot of people. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you liked it, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you. See you next time.